which pretty much goes on to something else that you talk about in your blog post, which is this idea of frictionless experiences, right? So can you tell us what that really is and how much of an effect does that really have on boys? Like, how does it impact them?
Mm-hmm. Well, frictionless experiences are those where you get immediate gratification and you can just easily disengage from it without any discomfort. So, for example, if you want to date and go out there and meet somebody, and you have a sexual drive, well, porn's right there. It's right at your fingertips, quite literally.
Yeah, yeah.
And you can sort of find that gratification and fast forward literally to the end. And there's no courting, there's no awkward phone calls, there's no friction. It just happens. Right? I'm just talking about porn there, which is
Yeah,
an
yeah.
issue with men. And so, what else is frictionless? Well, video games. You've probably played. I don't
Yeah, yeah,
really
for
play, but I
sure.
definitely like looked over shoulders and seen it. It's
Yeah.
so realistic. It is so much more
Hmm.
exciting than
Yeah.
the real world.
Hmm.
You can play a multiplayer, video game, and there's different levels, and it requires focus and other cognitive skills, and it's exciting and it's competitive, and it's also kind of numbing. And I think that that's where I think it can get damaging. I don't think video games are just categorically bad. I think overuse of them, addiction, is a problem because
Hmm.
you know um, it's quick, cheap dopamine. Dopamine is a brain chemical, um, and it doesn't just make us feel good. It's like it fuels the anticipation and it motivates us to act. It spikes when we gain something, we get an award. It teaches us to repeat it then in the future. It drives us to get up and pursue things, and I think um, what'll end up happening is that in video games and porn and gambling, these things that are very attractive to boys, it's like when the dopamine rewards come in so fast in these such big bursts, it's like it
Hmm.
floods the brain with dopamine so much more intensely than it would with more natural rewards, like just going out and taking a hike, right? Or like
Yeah.
talking with
Yeah,
friends,
yeah,
or like
yeah.
eating a good meal. And so over time, what ends up uh, happening, and neuroscientists will explain this better than I can, but it's like the brain adapts and it's like starts to turn down the volume on those more everyday activities that require patience and some grind, and dating, having it go wrong, having to go back, figure out who you are, what you could do better, what you're looking for, and facing rejection and then bouncing back. And so, you know, the brain changes from this, blowing the dopamine circuits. It's not like a forever thing,
Hmm.
but it's definitely hard to get motivated without like another hit, without another
Hmm.
stimulation. So, what we're looking for, or what I'm suggesting here, and others have too, like Jonathan Haidt, who's a psychologist at NYU, it's
Yeah.
like slow dopamine experiences where there's friction involved, where you have to sort of encounter obstacles and um, grind your way through. And what made me sad is that, oh my gosh, there's no better example of that than sports, because that is physicalized. It's not just a mental resilience. You're literally on a playing field, falling down, literally getting back up, getting hit,
Hmm.
getting elbowed, and there's no quick fix. You can't unplug the controller if you're losing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Exactly. So it pretty much takes away the real life adversity that you have to go through to even achieve something. Right? Again, if we're talking about porn, you can just go to the like the last part of that video that you're watching where it's the climax, right? And obviously
Exactly.
historically it's normally like years. It normally takes years for people to even get to that point. Right now it's like literally 2 minutes. That's it. You can just type something in online and you're there, right? So yeah, it's killing a person's ability to be patient and actually take their time as they go through something, which is quite interesting. Now, how can a person mitigate that? Because this is just going to get worse with like AI and VR and stuff like that. Like, so how can people mitigate that? Because it's just going to get worse as time goes on.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's hard to be
Mhm.
optimistic that like people are going to suddenly everyone's just going
Yeah.
to suddenly unplug. There's the tech companies have so much power to just
Uh
and
huh.
algorithmically to keep you in it.
Yeah.
It's really um, you know it's tough. I mean, just having conversations with boys and men and sort of selling them on slow dopamine, right?
Slow. Mhm.
You know, uh, really encourage showing them the health benefits and really encouraging them to join a team. And I don't even mean a competitive organized team. I'm not promoting everyone should be in any try to be an elite athlete. I
Mhm.
think um, creating more male spaces for boys. It doesn't necessarily need to be um, boys clubs that are exclusionary of girls. That's not at all what I'm saying. Boy Scouts I think has a decreasing participation, or I don't even know if it's still around. Fraternities, male fraternities. It's There's been a real drop, and so I guess what I would suggest is that, like, if I was a if I were to be coaching a parent, I would say, like, video games aren't categorically bad, but maybe you can make it such that your kid has to go out and play with his buddy unstructured. Give them more freedom, as Jonathan Haidt would say, outside in the real world, you
Yeah.
know, um, and then be a little bit more restrictive about the cheap dopamine, video games and porn. Treat it almost as a controlled substance in a way, where
Mhm.
you're like, you wouldn't just give your kid frosted flakes all day long for 6 hours a day. Some kids are playing video games for 6 hours a day, right? You'd say, okay, on the weekends you can, enjoy your a sugary cereal or wherever it is, however you parent. So just being really attuned to it. I think as a parent myself, I know how easy it is when you're trying to get shit done to
Mhm.
put your kid in front of a screen. I know.
Yeah.
So I think
Yeah.
part of this is on us parents to say, um, let's be more regimented around screens, um, and let's get our sons and daughters outside and giving them more leeway, giving them more of a runway to be bored outside and deal with it. A lot of this is
Yeah.
like a defense against boredom. It's like they can't handle. A
Mhm.
lot more likely today that kids just can't handle sitting still without being on their screen. I know it. I check my phone too much.
Yeah. Yeah. So it seems like what you're saying is give them more freedom with access to slow dopamine activities, right? And obviously, you mentioned that sports or just physical activity is one of the best ways to achieve that, right? Now, are there any other activities that you would recommend that fall under this slow dopamine category?
I mean, a good example might be like hiking. You know, Something as simple as pickleball or kickball. Um, you know, it doesn't even have to be physical. We can get out of that realm now and just say, like, a book club, right? Like, there's not that
Mm-hmm.
high participation of men in
Yeah.
book clubs. You have to read the book and talk about it and process it. Um, Joining a men's group, it could be through your church, temple, your wherever. So the point here is that um, do something that's organized with other young men. And as parents, we should really be nudging our kids into that. And that's that to me is healthier. And we've lost that culture. It's a
Mm-hmm.
throwback
Yeah.
in some way,
Yeah.
and it's sad.
Yeah, exactly. So it seems like the main idea, again, it comes down to more depth, right? So just
Mm-hmm.
promote activities that have more depth. Obviously you mentioned book clubs, and something that reminded me of is just encourage them to make something, like whether it's a movie or build something, just something that forces them to really spend time and effort to create something and wait for that result. Like if you look at IKEA, that's something that they seem to do quite well, right? Like they kind of give people the parts, and then people actually enjoy building it themselves because they feel like they've built something and they've actually accomplished that level of high, right? So it seems like the main idea comes down to just promote these ideas that have more depth and take
Hmm.
longer for people to actually experience the high that comes with really overcoming and completing that thing, like long-term goals and stuff that go along those lines. Like, would you say
Yeah,
that that's accurate?
I would say that's accurate, and you're getting to something that is important, and
Hmm.
it's creativity too.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you know, picking up a guitar, picking up a a paintbrush, whatever it is, woodwork is popular with a lot of men. Using your hands to create something, it's really powerful. It's a
Yeah, exactly.
so I always want to add the art therapy piece
Yeah.
piece to this because I sometimes forget to say it, but it can be so it can be so helpful.
Yeah, exactly. And then real male confidence, like actual secure male confidence, comes from action and building things, right? So it's not just gonna make you feel good as you go through. Like you're gonna have more self belief in yourself because you know that you actually built something in the real world, right? So that gives you that like authentic confidence that seems to be dropping in men around the world, which is again quite concerning. But that's kind of a different topic. Now,